So you get that big ring. Don't get caught in your pocket when we're making donations, right? No alligator, no T-Rex arms tonight. Well, thank you for being here. How many of you are not huggers? You're not huggers. Like, are you like, some people don't want to say, like, you're not a hugger? Then don't go near Luther. Don't stand near Luther. Because Luther's a big old teddy bear hugger, but he's a superhero. How I got to meet Luther, Dr. Erickson right over here, has been a friend of mine for years, and he told me, hey, there's a guy I want to connect you with, Luther, and he's starting a foundation, Know Your Worth Foundation. And this is what's going on, and they got a gala coming up. And I think, Dr. Erickson, maybe the last 10 words I didn't hear because it started making me go into my childhood a little bit. And people think, oh, well, and by the way, for those of you standing, like Kareem saying, big, tall, Duncan dude who can play some hoops, and Luther, big old basketball player and trainer, and then there's me, a professional athlete. So if you've ever seen the movie Roadhouse, have you ever seen the movie Roadhouse? And remember the line in there, well, I thought you'd be bigger. If you're looking at me thinking that, I did too. So, yes, I was a professional athlete, and maybe the hat gave me 2 inches. But anyway, growing up, I grew up in a small town in Illinois, and I loved baseball, but baseball was an escape for me, because I was more of this math guy. Anybody ever play around the world with flashcards in class? Yes, thank you very much. See, this is my favorite table, by the way. I just want y'all to know. Even though your back's to me and I'm going to eat a potato over your shoulder, I want you to know it's my favorite table. Just don't eat my dessert, okay? You got it. So it was an escape for me because I had a rough childhood, and my dad was an abuser, he was an alcoholic, and so instead of coming home and dealing with that, and don't worry, don't be sad, because this is going to get better, I would go down to the local baseball park, because that's where I saw all the kids hanging out. And so I would go down there, and they would never let me play. And that really chapped me, but going home was worse, so I would sit there, and then one day I came to the park, and they said, okay, we'll let you play, but you got to go play right field, and you're not allowed to hit. And if you ever played like home run derby when you were little in baseball or softball, it's like a 3-on-3, and right field was out. And I didn't even care. I just wanted to be out there with the fellas. And I wanted to be part of something that was really cool. So I didn't get to play a whole lot. I was on a team, and if you drove by the local baseball park, you knew where I played, because there wasn't a single dandelion in right field. It was like yellow all over the place. And then there was right field where I would stay. Jobs, and she was the rock star that got me through there. But getting to the big leagues, there was, and we were talking about this, I'm going to give you this right here, we were talking about that moment. There was a moment, I was good in high school, and we won a high school state championship, and then after high school, won a junior Olympic gold medal, and so I started to get really good in baseball. That was my passion, that was my thing. It went from escape into a passion. But there was this crossroads moment where I was in college. I had just come off this gold medal winning Olympic thing, and had my gold medal, wore it proud. Not many guys get to do that. And so we were at 5:30 in the morning. It's 10 degrees below zero outside in Joliet, Illinois. And there's a coach in a room. This is like a rubber floor compared to the floor that we have. It's hard tile, it was like concrete. And they had these rubber balls, and the coach was like, from here to all those wonderful doggy pictures over there, he said, okay, let's go. And he'd throw a kinkle ball up in the air 20 feet before you took off. And he demanded that you run and catch that thing. So you had to dive and go crazy. And we're doing this for hours because we're not catching anything. And I didn't have the heart to tell him, Coach, maybe it's because you have a bad arm. I wouldn't say something like that. But so we go through that, and we get a restroom break, and I walk outside, and here was that moment of no return for me. I walked out, and I saw it was kind of in the foyer of this old armory. And I walked out, and I looked out there, and saw the guys hustling, and I saw the guys working, and I was caught in the moment of, if you want to be the best you can be, which you don't know yet, either you think you've arrived, and you just need to stop now. You just need to quit now, or you can trust the people that love you, that care about you, and that are going to make you better if you work as hard as you possibly can. If you give every single thing that you possibly can give. Now understand, at the time I'm 19, but in here, Dr. Erickson and I were just talking about that, I'm probably still 10 in here. But I decided, okay, I don't want to go home. This is the only way that's going to pay for my education. So I'm going to get after it. And the next year after that, I went from probably the worst guy on my college team to a first-team All-American in college. That is not, I'm not, thank you, but that is not, there's a purpose to that. I appreciate that, but there's a purpose to that. See, all that time I had to fight and scratch and try to figure things out. Because yes, I eventually developed the talent, and I didn't have a dad around, but there were people around me in my neighborhood that had just as much talent as I did and never got the chance. They never got the opportunity. So through the years, I came up and went to college and was a two-time All-American and then was drafted by the Boston Red Sox and turned it down because I wanted to finish school. And then I ended up getting drafted by the Royals, and I come to Kansas City. And when I'm in Kansas City, I start to see, probably for the first time, where I grew up is an hour south of Chicago. And I use the word Chicago or Joliet because people know that. But here's Chicago. This was a map. Here's Chicago. Here's Joliet. That's the suburbs. And then down here is like farmland, where that started. That's where I went to school. Anybody ever see the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Yeah. Okay. Where they say Braidwood, Kansas, where John Candy says, those aren't pillows. Remember that scene? That actually was Braidwood, Illinois. A town of 1,000 people where I ended up going to school. And so I get to Kansas City, and I never really got into Chicago to see it, but I see an amazing melting pot of people. And I see this eclectic group, and I see all different kinds of races and creeds and colors, that there's so much. I'll be honest with you. I've played against the best in California, Florida. This will be the first year in 22 years that I'm not going to be on a baseball field coaching somewhere. And people think, are you going to be sad? And my answer is, no, I'm going to play a lot of golf. You know I'll be sad. But now I get to help people like Luther. Now I get to live vicariously through Luther, and I get to walk with him, and I get to meet these kids, and I get to meet people like you for the first time and help you understand that I've seen it. I know that you either probably have seen it, or maybe you're finding out this stuff for the first time. You can make a huge difference in these kids' lives. I've been in there firsthand at Urban Youth Academy before it was the Urban Youth Academy. I've been in there talking to kids like, hey, how fast can you run? I don't know. How long have you had those tennis shoes? About 10 years. Like, your shoes are coming out of those things. Like, well, I'll just take them off. I run faster in bare feet anyway. That's the kind of stuff I used to hear. And you see the kids that get anybody ever gone to a baseball clinic or a basketball clinic or something like that and see them show up in jeans? Have you ever seen that before? And to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that breaks my heart. Go ask the kid. He or she don't care. They're just happy to be out there. Coach Norman, do you want me to sign something? No offense, but I want you to watch me run. I want you to watch me throw. And then you see the shape of some of these kids, like they're 12 years old and they look like they're 25 and they've been in the gym. Luther, you know what I'm talking about. They look like they've been in the gym because they're just yoked and so fit. And the girls are fast and can throw it underhand and do those amazing things. But they're not going to get the shot because of where they live, maybe who they are, lack of funding, something along those lines. Look, I was honored and I worked hard to wear the jerseys that I wore. But I'll tell you what, that jersey that I wore for the time that I got to wear it has nothing to do with me. What it has to do with is what I do now. What we go through in life is all important, and we work hard for our money, and we all want to be successful, and it's important to do that and be successful. But if you ever wonder, Pablo Picasso once said, the meaning of life is to discover your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Come on. The meaning of life is to discover your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. You can spend your money, you can spend your time. You can spend your talent how you want. But I'll tell you one thing. If you jump on board with Know Your Worth Foundation, you're going to be able to do it all. You're going to be able to see these kids that never had a chance one day be walking on that field and busting open, and you're going to come out on opening day and you're going to see a Royals guy come out there. And you're going to see somebody playing for MU or KU or the Lakers or whoever it may be, and they're going to be out there for the first time, and you're going to say, oh, you know what? I remember them in that basketball camp when they were 10 years old, and they didn't have a shot. That's why I gave. That's why I helped Luther. That's why I helped Palmer. That's why I wanted to be a part of the Know Your Word Foundation. So I'm going to end with this. I'm honored to be here. Luther, I love you, man. We ain't known each other that long, but you're always a brother from another mother. By the way, if you want to hear a great radio show, I'm also a radio host, and I think you mentioned that. So if you want to hear a great show, this isn't about me. I have a website, lesnorman.com. It's not an ego thing. It was available, so I bought it. That's just what it was. But if you go on lesnorman.com/podcast, you can go from your phone right now or your computer when you get home, and you'll see a picture of Luther, myself, and Palmer. And I interviewed them, a few weeks ago, right? It is a great interview, and if you haven't spent some time, most of you probably have, but if you haven't spent time really getting a hold of Luther's passion for kids, and his passion about people that normally wouldn't have a shot, and that's what he wants to do, and that's who he wants to help, give that a listen. It's 45 minutes of my brother over there trying not to cry. It was awesome watching that big old burly dude. Yeah. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for coming here and doing what you do. And remember, I joke around about that whole alligator T-Rex arm reach down in there. Joking, it's like sorry, not sorry. Joking, not joking. You can really help. You can do some amazing stuff. So thank you again for all that you do. We know you work hard. We know you've been here. We know you want to be a part of this. Bid, have fun, enjoy some drinks, enjoy your amazing food. That salmon was strong. I didn't have the other. That salmon was pretty good right there. But just remember, the meaning of life is to discover your gift, but the purpose of life is to give it away. If you've ever wrestled with that, this is one thing that you can do to find out what your purpose is. So thank you all. I'm going to hand it back over to my man over here. I appreciate all of you. And continue on. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Make some noise for Les Norman.